Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. We are rocking and rolling, just coming in hot, full day of work today. I texted Paul this morning and said, Paul, let's do an episode this afternoon. And he said, all right, let's do it. This is just real time. And every time Paul comes on the show, who knows what we're going to get into? Like, what did we even talk about last time? I think last time we talked about your Zoom subscription for some old NFL player or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, since then, I have gotten off the Zoom Pro plan. I'm back to the free.
You're back on the free. See, that's why Paul's. If you listen to the show, all of Paul's episodes are like 40 minutes or less. Because when you hit the 39-minute and 59 seconds, it cuts off right out of that. So, rocking that free version.
Yeah, and I was interviewing Jay Jacobs, and it was so good. It was like one of my best podcast interviews ever. And then like this red thing popped on the top. It's like 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. I was like, hey, Jeremy, you're doing great, man, but I got to go. So I am frugal. There's no mistaking that. I am a frugal human being.
Except for when it comes to golf clubs, because I know the golf clubs you just bought, and that was not a frugal purchase.
Yeah, I just bought some new TaylorMade irons. I got some Cleveland wedges going to be delivered here temporarily if I have to go to the door. It's because they're like Amazon. When you buy golf clubs, they send you a code, and you got to give the Amazon driver a code. So I got
you bought it from Amazon?
Yeah, I bought TaylorMade irons from Amazon yesterday, stiff shafts. I got Cleveland wedges. I got a 56 and a 60. I got an Odyssey putter on its way, a driver, and then I bought some.
Oh, so you're buying all new clubs?
I didn't have anything. I had.
Oh, you don't have any clubs anymore?
No, I've always used my neighbor Nate. I always used. But what happened for those listening? Well, if this episode's coming on Wednesday, the next morning, Thursday, tomorrow morning, I'm driving down to Al Blade's house, and we're going to go golfing on Friday is the plan. So
it's a long way to drive to go golfing.
Yeah, but you
could just drive like 2.5 hours here and go golf.
Yeah, we could do that. I got clubs now, so that's definitely a possibility. So, I'm really looking forward to it. So I got my bag. I got an Izzo bag, and I got new gloves. I got Pro V1s. I'm all set.
Oh, Pro V1s. How many cases did you buy?
Well, I got one sleeve, so I got 3 Pro V1s, and then I bought a 12-pack of Callaways.
Okay, so see, you're pretty confident. Anybody that knows golf, that's a pretty confident golfer. That means he feels like he's not going to lose any balls. If he only has one sleeve of Pro V1s, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but we'll see. I haven't played all year, but
you could be like Brian chasing his ball into the swamp in Florida.
No. Brian is. Let's try to put this straightforward. I can go low, Jeremiah. I can shoot under par. So
all right, Paul can shoot under par. Well, I hope everybody gets to see this. You better post some content because I want to see you.
Because Brian was being sarcastic. He was like, "I'm a scratch golfer," and he was joking, and I was like,
"You thought he was?"
No. I knew he was being sarcastic, but when I asked you what the course record is out there in Alabama, I'm coming for that record.
I hear you.
I got to get. You're not going to shoot the course record on the first time because you need to kind of learn the slopes and the bounces and get a feel for it. But I can play some golf, Jeremiah.
I hear you. The last time I played golf, I almost took out a Hyundai Telluride or Kia Telluride or whatever it is. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was a drive, and it was right on the main entrance into the place we were at, and that the ball literally chased the car. Like it hit the asphalt and just was bouncing and was chasing the car. I mean, I was like, any second's going to hit it. And luckily the car was going fast enough that the ball did not catch up to it. And so we did not have to pay for the Telluride to have a new brake light or anything put in. But, well, man, tell us what's going on. Golf is fun. We could talk golf all day, but Spring rush is here. What's going on with the Green Industry Podcast, man? You got all kinds of you got 5 shows a week coming out, so that means you have a ton of guest interviews, especially this time of year. Like, what's everybody saying they're doing this year that you're hearing to make their businesses better?
Yeah, I think now's the time of the season where everyone's getting in position. And so that's the main thing, getting your equipment, ready to rock and roll, getting your customers ready. Obviously, if you've been listening to my show before this was popular, I was shouting from the mountaintops to raise your prices. This was before inflation was at 9% like it is now, back when it was 3 to 5%. I was the old-fashioned guy on the podcast. Literally go back to 2019, listen to my show. I'm like, guys, it's the spring, time to raise your prices 5%. I was preaching this back in the day. Now everyone's preaching it, which is cool, but like I've been at this for a long time. So obviously, it's the time of the year you got to raise your prices. So inflation, they say, is 9%, but what do you know that's only gone up 9%? But anyway, you need to be raising your prices double digits this year for sure. So that's another thing that I've been helping people with.
I hear you. Yeah, if you're not raising prices right now, then you are getting left behind. That's actually made a video on that the other day because this is the 3rd year in a row that I've raised prices on my customers, and I think. I think in the last 3 years, I've had maybe 5 or 6 people leave me because of price. Like that, it just rarely happens. And I've had one guy this season raised it on 60, 70 plus customers this year. One person replied and said, "That's too expensive. We can't do it anymore. Hasta la vista, goodbye." And so he said we parted ways, and that was fine because it was actually one that I didn't actually want to keep doing. It was kind of out of my route. It was a yard that wasn't very profitable, so it just works out. That's the way it is. So you need to be raising your prices this time of year and knowing your numbers. That's something that is huge. That's something that I'm trying to really work on this year as far as like clocking in, clocking out of jobs. And did you tell me the story of, I think I've heard you tell it on your show before, but didn't you like track all of your time when you had your mowing business? Did you like track your time on paper of when you pulled up to the yard, when you left the yard, and things like that? Because that's, in modern today's terms, it would be clocking in, clocking out on your app of whatever CRM you use.
Yeah. So thankfully, this is one. If you listen to my podcast, one second. If you listen to my podcast, I normally share all the things I've done wrong in business, but the one thing I did right since 2011, and this is just because it's all I knew. I met my friend Kenny. At the time, he was in business for 18 years, and he was already working in the country club of the South, which at the time, Whitney Houston was still alive. She lived in there. Usher lived in there. Justin Bieber may have just been on his way out. But it's like all the hottest celebrities in Atlanta lived in this neighborhood, and he worked in that neighborhood. And I got to drive his little box truck in there, and it was so cool. But anyway, he taught me. We met at Panera Bread. And he taught me to clock in and clock out, but he actually gave me pieces of paper. So they would say like customer's name on the left, time in, time out. Then there's like a little column for, was it a maintenance? Was it an install? Was it what, like you put the letter, and then it had, I think it has had like notes, like if you had to write like some note, and he gave me this sheet of paper, and I printed out, whatever, 300 of them or whatever for the year. So then every day at the top right-hand corner, I would write the date. So it'd be like April 4th, 2011. You write the date, and then I would manually clock in and clock out. And then I had, at the end of the day, I'd put it on my desk. And so I had stacks of these things. And then like if I had a rain day, what I would do is I would input them. Google Sheets. Well, I don't think Google Sheets even was out back then. It might have been, but I was using Microsoft Excel. So then I would put it in the Microsoft Excel, my stats, and then I would put it for the customer. I would actually have a tab for each of them. So this was way before CRM. I had manually tracked my customers' time for years. So when my friend Rich looked at my numbers, I actually had, here's how many man hours I spent at Dr. Massad's house. Here's how many man hours I spent at Randy's yard and Mrs. Smith's yard. So that was the one thing, like most guys that start in business fail like on everything because they just don't know better. So that was the one successful thing that I did just because Kenny told me. And I was like, well, of course, you just write what time you got to everyone's house and then what time you left. And because it was right on my, I bought this little thing that I saw Keith Kalfas talking about on a YouTube video. from Lowe's, I just put it like on top of it's like a contractor like notepad thing, and then like I would keep my invoices and stuff inside of it.
Yep.
And then on the outside, it was hard. I would put the timesheet, so I would fill that out. So anyway, I had accurate records of how long it took me to mow a property, which came in handy years later when my friend Rich actually showed me how to calculate like what I was making per man hour, because I didn't even know how to run that math, and he showed me. And then I was like, oh crap. I remember on Dr. Massage Yard, I was making $29 per man hour. And I didn't even know like
you didn't even know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even like know how to run the math to figure that out. I knew I had wrote down all the years how long it was there, but I didn't actually realize like at the time the man hour rate was $45 per man hour, which nowadays these guys just starting out are like, I gotta make $75 a man hour. But like back when I started, I literally was making $29 a man hour. Thus, I was working at Carrabba's at night because that not that enough when
Yeah, when you got a bunch of overhead and things. That's really good. I think that's something that everyone should take some advice from, because I know if I would have done that earlier in business, then we would be way ahead of where we are now, as far as like our yards would just be higher priced, and we would know that sooner. And that's the thing that still scares me, is like there's still a lot of people in our area that actually are like, they're still undercharging big time. And if you're not charging, what'd you say?
Well, I'm just saying hi on Instagram. Podcast time with Jeremiah.
Yeah, guys. What's up on the Green Industry Podcast Instagram? So let me see here. Let's. You want to do it right back to you? So we're going to do Instagram stories right live. Podcast with Paul.
What's up, guys?
Paul said, "What's up?" I don't think they can hear you because you're coming to my headset.
Oh, excellence in broadcasting. Yeah, they can't hear me.
So we're. That's kind of like you. Man, at the podcast summit, you came up and you started talking and yelling, and I was like, yeah, they can't hear you, Paul. So anyway, this time of year is just crazy, and I think you can really end up in a bad position if you don't know how much you should be charging, if you don't know what your prices on your yards should be, because if you're spending an hour and a half and you're charging $75, then it's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, you're just not going to make any money, especially if you have 2 or 3 guys out there. And that's one of the biggest things that I think everyone should. And so a lot of people might think this is common sense. Well, maybe it's not common sense to somebody out there. You have to charge per man that you have on the job. You can't just say, it's going to take me 30 minutes with 3 guys, and so I'm going to charge for 30 minutes. Like, you have to charge per man hour. And that's, everybody needs to understand that. And like I said, a lot of people may think that's total common sense. We all know that. Maybe there's somebody who doesn't understand that, who's just starting out in business, that's listening. Like, you need to be, if your man hour rate is $50 a man hour, it's going to take you 30 minutes, and you have 3 men on the job, then you need to be charging $150 for that job, because you're going to be there.
It's 75, Jeremiah.
Well, is that right? No, $50 a man hour for yes. No, yes, that's right. If you're there
I got my calculator.
Yes, you're right. No, you're right. If you're there for an hour, you need to be charging $150.
Yeah, an hour. But you said 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yes, 75.
So 30 multiplied by 1.5.
Correct. Yes.
Hours is
and you get your 1.5 man hours, because that's
so 1.5 man hours is 30 minutes times 3 guys is 1.5 man hours times $50 per man hour equals $75.
Correct. You are correct in that. I was calculating the full hour. So, but that's something that everybody needs to know and do, because like we had a job the other day, and it was the first mow. We had to scalp a yard here, and we quoted this lady, I think like it's a $67 a cut weekly yard, and we were there. 3 guys were there mowing, scalping this first time for at least an hour. And we're at $75 a man hour. So like that's $225 that I should be charging for that yard. And I had to tell her.
What did you charge her?
I haven't sent the invoice yet. I need to go back and I'm not going to charge her the full $225, because this is going to be a good customer that it's going to be well worth holding on, charging a little bit less now, because it's going to be weekly, year round. But I'll probably end up charging her about $175 probably for this first mow. So like I said,
in the future, it's better to let her know ahead of time, not afterwards.
Correct. Yes, but we had this conversation
Surprise.
after.
The Growing Greens surprise pricing. We'll tell you later.
Surprise pricing. No, this is a really good lady that we actually have mutual friends and relations. She's friends with my grandparents and things, so we were very clear in our communication on what was going to be charged and things like that. So anyway, you just got to know your crap, because this time of year you can really get bit in the butt when you got people calling you and you're taking on jobs that you're not making money on, because right now it's just the phone's starting to pick up. 2 weeks ago, the phones were not ringing that much, but now it's like every day just about we're getting new requests, and that's awesome. I hope everyone is going through that, but you just got to make sure you're doing it profitably. So, Paul, let me ask you this. You went out on your own and started the whole, I'm going to become a content creator. I'm going to do the podcast full time, really before many other people did that whole thing. And there had to be a lot of negativity shown your way along the way. I was listening to a podcast today that was talking about just you cannot worry about what other people think. If you worry about what other people think, then you're not going to really succeed in life if that's what consumes your time. Tell me, would you share that on that a little bit? How have you kind of pushed through it and persevered through? And this has been a trend that we've talked about the last week or two on the podcast about negativity hitting you in the beginning and saying you're going to fail, it's not going to work. And I know you've told me personal stories of people close to you who don't really understand what you do. They don't really agree with what you do. And so they're maybe not negative towards you, but they're definitely not like fully supporting you. How have you kind of taken that and used it as motivation to grow your business that you're doing now with the Green Industry Podcast?
Yeah, well, let's back up just to put context, because there might be people that are listening that have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I actually started a lawn business in 2011, and first few years was unprofitable. It was rough. I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning the technique and the business side all at the same time. So it was a rough few years. But I had fallen in love with the lawn care community online because I had found a guy named Greg Chisholm, and he was talking about running his little lawn care business in Illinois, Missouri area. Then I had found a guy named Keith Kalfas. I was watching his videos, and then I would later become, really good friends with this fellow, Naylor Taliaferro. But back then I was just a YouTube viewer, and he was called the Lawn Care Rookie, and he was putting out content as a rookie. And I was like, oh man, I'm not the only rookie. Like, I wasn't in year one rookie, but I was still rookie. So I'm like, I'm learning from him, because he's like, all right, here's what I do for creation, and here's what I charge. I'm like, I'm just learning so much from these guys. So from the origin of our community online, I was in that group. I was one of the first subscribers to B&B Lawn Care and to Naylor and to Kalfas was a little bit established, but I was in that ecosystem. So I had fallen in love with this community. So I was not a creator early on. I was the guy in the comments, and I was commenting on Naylor and all these other guys, and I wasn't putting out much lawn care content. And anyway, I had grown my business, and I turned the corner, Jeremiah, and I actually had gotten more profitable, and I had gotten some high-end clientele. Some of my customers were the football players for the Atlanta Falcons, which is our NFL team, and I was doing well in business. And so I had every intention of growing my business and starting a second division in Lake Oconee, which is a really wealthy, not suburb of Atlanta, because it's a little bit further east. But I was going to open, I was just like, I'm going to grow this lawn care business. Like, I had the rest of my life planned out. And literally, I had a supernatural encounter with God. There's no other way to explain it. But it was in August of 2018. And this is why you have to be careful not to copycat me, because I'll just tell you what happened. Take it or leave it. You can believe me or not, but I was there. Okay. I was driving a U-Haul down the road in Illinois, and there's cornfields on the side of the roads. And I was driving my U-Haul down the road. I was driving back to Atlanta, and I had a vision. So if you don't know what that is, I'm sure everyone's had one. You're awake, but you can see something. I don't know how to other explain it. So I was driving down the road, but I watched a movie in my mind. I don't even know how to explain it, but I saw it. And it was guys. Some of them were in pickup trucks. Some of them were in like a shop, kind of like Caleb Allman has, like a shed or shop like that. And I was above them or whatever. And I was like, I could see into their truck cabin or into their shed. and they were listening to me talking about business. But I was watching it. I was like, and then the little movie I watched ended, and I was back driving the highway, which God's outside of time, which we can't compute because we're inside of time. But like maybe no time went by. Maybe it was, I don't know how it all worked, but I saw it. And when I got done seeing that, there was it wasn't audible, but it was like, I heard it as clear as day. If you build it, they will listen. Which there's a movie, a baseball movie, which has cornfields, just like I was in the cornfields were all around me. In the baseball movie, they said, I think it was a baseball field. If you build it, they will come. Something like that.
That's right. Yep. But
in the context of this encounter I had, I was around the exact thing. If you watch the baseball field, it was cornfields around me. It was I was surrounded by cornfields. That one was in Iowa, but I was in Illinois. So anyway, I had no intention of starting the podcast because I was doing radio show and building a lawn care business. So I'm passionate about this because this is why I don't listen to the haters, because they weren't in that U-Haul that day. I was. I know what I saw and heard. So I get back to Atlanta, and Naylor just happened to be scheduled to come to Atlanta to shoot a YouTube video. And we went to Waffle House, and I told him about it. I was like, Naylor, I said, like, here's what happened. What do you think? And he's like, what do you mean do I think? He's like, you need to start a podcast, bro. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't have enough time, blah, blah, blah. He's like, just go for it. He's like, this is it. Like, you need to start it today.
The store is now open at thehardscapeacademy.com. When you visit Caleb and Brittany's website, thehardscapeacademy.com, and you click on the store link, you now have instant access to purchase the training videos, documents, forms, and handbooks that you hear mentioned on the podcast. Plus, you can now reserve your spot at one of the upcoming in-person training sessions at the Almonds new shop. Learn step-by-step alongside our master hardscape professionals. These sessions will include how to install retaining walls, project budgeting, and paver patio estimation, just to name a few. Other sessions feature landscape design principles, horticulture basics, installing seat walls and benches, grill island installation, and so much more. Get incredible hands-on experience for you and your crew. Head over there now to find the exact training session you want, but remember, space is limited, so reserve your slot today at thehardscapeacademy.com.
And I was like, we're sitting at Waffle House. And I said, well, what should I call it? I was like, Green Industry Podcast? Literally, we're having a conversation at Waffle House. This would have been August of 2018, or maybe September of 2018, because it was right around the first of the month. Well, anyways, end of August, 1st September, 2018. Because I started my podcast then in October 2018. And he's like, I never forget this. He's sitting across from me at Waffle House. He's like, yeah, just keep it simple. That's fine. And I was like, well, what about this? What about it? Nah, just keep it simple. That'll work. Green Industry Podcast. And so we went into the studio, recorded. I interviewed him for 3 episodes in a row. And then that was it. That was my first 3 episodes. And so I started the podcast then, and I had no idea that we'd get millions of downloads, that John Deere and Lowe's would reach out to me. I'm not flexing, but that's the biggest companies in the industry.
Yeah.
And I didn't go, not that there's anything wrong with me pursuing them, but they reached out to me. Mm-hmm. They found me. And so anyway, I just kept growing the podcast for several years. And then the Lord gave me another vision. And we talk about route density. And in a home service-based business, I truly believe in route density. Like, if you're as efficient as possible, your truck's not going all around town. You're in a very condensed area. Well, the vision the Lord started giving me was, I started seeing my customers. They're like little dots on a map. But I started seeing them all over the United States, and then I started seeing them all over the world. And I was fighting it for a while. I was like, no, I got to route density. I need to be in this Sugarloaf Country Club. And what I wasn't realizing is the Lord was, for me, I'm not saying everyone's copying me, but they might not work out for them because they're just copying me. God directed me, and I'm trying to obey him. He started showing me that my customers weren't going to be in Sugarloaf Country Club anymore. He was taking me to serve a need that most lawn care business owners don't know their numbers.
Mm.
Most lawn care business owners don't know how to successfully raise their prices every single year. Like you're like smart, Jeremiah, but you'd be shocked how many stand in the vans and trucking the trucks out there. They charged $45 a cut last year, and they're charging $45 a cut this year.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, God had prepared me by letting me have such a failure of a company to have a sympathy and compassionate heart to now serve. My customers are more like lawn care business owners, and I'm like their cheerleader and their coach. And so I've come into this role over time, and it wasn't my idea. I did not sit in some war room and like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a podcast, and then I'm going to sell an e-training, and then that was not how it went at all. It was like God nudged me, God nudged me, God nudged me, and it's ultra successful. And now I got all these people plagiarizing me and copying me and trying to like do the blueprint, because it is smart, but it was not intentional. It was God had a calling on my life, and I'm following his plan and serving people. And so that's kind of where things are now. But when Naylor and I were sitting in Waffle House in 2018, we didn't talk about any of it looking like it is today. It was a surprise to me, and I think Naylor will tell you, he was there. He was there from day one, that we never thought past like, well, what could this thing turn into?
Yeah, there was no like, what is this going to happen? Yeah, what's going to happen with this?
But I'm not saying, let me say this. It's not God's plan for everyone who listens to my show to start a lawn business so that they can start a social media empire. Like that's not, like, you just have to be careful. Like God made us as originals. So you don't want to die a copycat, because I'm speaking this because everyone's copying what I'm doing. And I'm like, why are you doing what I'm doing? Like, follow like God's plan for you. I'm not saying don't post on social media or don't do a podcast or don't you whatever, but it's like, wait a minute. Like, you guys know what happened behind the scenes to me, like to even get the audacity to do what I'm doing. And if you weren't called to do that, like it might not work out is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see. You definitely you want to take advice from people who have gone before you and done something that you want to do. So I mean, I don't think anybody needs to take that as Paul saying don't like, if you think you should be creating content and helping people out there, then do that, but don't do it just because.
Go listen to a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. He'll tell you where to be posting, how to be posting. Like that guy's a genius when it comes to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like, hey, follow his plan.
Yeah. No, and you want to take after people who have done it and have been successful in it, but you don't want to copy them. It's the same thing. You want to find what they're doing, find what works, and then you want to put your own spin and twist on it, and that's the way you can stay original, but also find what works and help you grow as well. Because that's a lot of people that, I mean, what do you do when you start a lawn care business? You're seeing what other people are cutting grass or putting in plants, and they're being successful. So you go do that, but you have to put your own spin on it. You have to make it your company. And if you don't set yourself apart or make yourself any better than the next person, then why would anybody use you? So it kind of, you can take that and translate it there into social media or whatever you want to do. If you're putting this content out, but somebody else is as well, then how are you different? How are you maybe you're not even better. You're just different. It's just a different kind of take on things. So that's good stuff. But so, I mean, what did you, now we got the story. That's what you wanted. Now answer my question. Tell me
the question again.
How have you blocked out, not blocked out, but just like use the negativity to help push you and kind of, I don't know, mold you along the way? Because I know we've had conversations and you've had friends and family, and just they're not always totally bought into what you've been doing. They just don't quite understand what you're doing. And so how have you taken that and just like use that negativity / not support to propel you forward? Because you're creating your own destiny, your own future with not much help other than friends in the industry and things like that. So how have you done that?
Yeah, I think through having friends. So on the phone today, I literally called my producer. We nicknamed him Mr. Producer, and I just texted him and said, "Hey, you got a minute to chat?" Of course, he called me, thankfully right away. And I would just, "Hey, I don't want to be hasty. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this. Thinking about this." And then he gave me some. He's like, "Okay, well, be careful on this." He's like, "I like this, but have you thought about this?" And just like, if you go bowling, I have a little niece that likes to bowl. And there's the bumpers on the for the little kids.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're an adult and you got bumpers. But
hey, I'm still using the little dinosaur thing that you put the ball on and roll it down.
Yeah. Well, the bumper thing is, like it protects you. And so my producer, he's got my back. Like if I start to veer off a little bit in the wrong way,
yeah, he's good accountability for you.
Accountability. And I called Fullerton, or no, actually Brian Fullerton called me. It's irrelevant. He called me like a week or so ago, and I was like scratching my head. I think I even mentioned this to you. I'm like, all right, let me get this straight, dude. You have a wife and a kid and one on the way. You're doing more than me because I'm stressed out about. I've written a few books. I do a podcast. I try to create content. I try to create resources for people that are actually move the needle in their business. And I'm doing all this stuff. I was telling Brian, I was like, dude, I am so exhausted and I'm so worn out. And I'm like physically just like, I don't know how I can go another day. And then you add on, you have a wife and a kid and one on the way. I was like, how are you doing it? And he's like, you don't really do it. You just spin this plate, then you go spin that plate. Then you forgot you had this plate, you spin that one. And it's like you just, it's crazy, man. And so that's what I was telling Mr. Producer. Cause I was like, is it wise or not for me to go down and hang out with Al Blades for a few days? Because am I being hasty? Cause Al and I have been going back and forth for like 2 years. Like, when you coming to see me or whatever. And I was like, I feel like this is the right timing. And I was just asking Mr. Producer one of many things. I was like, what do you think? And essentially he's like, he felt a green light about it. He's like, I think it's good. He's like, so just kind of checking in as I'm starting new projects or doing new things, just kind of having people guide me. And to draw that into a lawn care business, it's like, hey, if you're thinking about adding this service or omitting this service, having a mentor who knows about your life and your details, looking in and saying that's smart, or you're biting off more than you can chew, or slow down, buddy, and stuff like that. So you can ask the question again. I didn't really know what you were specifically trying to ask about the negativity and things like that. I'd be happy to answer it. I just didn't quite know what you were pointing at.
Well, yeah, no, that makes sense. You need to have a good community around you. I know. So we did a show last week and we were talking about I remember there were some things early on in mine and Savannah's relationship where it was kind of like people just weren't 100% bought into what we were doing. If I was going to be able to support us with the business, if the business was going to succeed. And so I know people had to think that of you, like some of your family or friends that aren't in this industry. They had to be like, Paul, what are you doing? Like, why are you going into business to create content full time? Like, you have a life you need to provide for your future wife, and like, what are you doing? That you're not gonna make money this way. You're not gonna be able to make a living. And so that's what I mean of like, how have you? I mean, some people say you block them out. Some people say you use them as motivation. Everybody, I think, handles it differently. So for me, it was just like I was curious to see how you have used that too.
Okay, well, I'll be bluntly honest with you, and I'll offend a lot of your listeners, but I pay a guy $1,000 per hour.
Yeah,
he's my coach, and you guys are going to think I'm exaggerating because people. I have, depending on how busy my schedule is, I charge between $249 and $479.
Yeah.
Kind of for coaching right now. Now, if I'm really, really busy and only got like 1 or 2 slots a week, I'm going to charge more. If I have more time, I'll charge a little less. You know what I mean? So supply and demand. And people are, that's too much. I can't, whatever. I, honest to God, have paid my coach. Probably, I think I've done 14 or 15 coaching calls with him. And I pay him $1,000 every time.
Yeah.
But it's because he's further along than me. And I pick his brain and I ask him, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And so I'm not flying blind. I have a guide who's been there, done that, and has a lot of success. And I think last year, well, he publicly shared how much money he earned last year.
Over 7 figures. Yeah.
So he's very successful. So I don't mind paying him $1,000 an hour to help me. And I put my money where my mouth is because coaching to me. Now, if you have a bad coach, you're wasting your money. After the first call, if I didn't get an ROI, I would have been like, I'm not paying $1,000 to this guy. But after $1,000, I made more than $1,000 the next week, like when I implemented what he told me. And then it just kept going and it kept going and kept going and kept going. And I just was talking to him today. And fantastic. I think we had a very successful day. So that really helps is when somebody who doesn't understand what I'm doing, I'm like, okay, well, my guide is making and earning a lot of money. He's married. He has 2 kids. I mean, I'm not in his bedroom at night, but he seems like he has a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I like where this guy's at, where he's going. And so it drowns out anyone who says anything negative. And the frustrating thing is with the content I make on my podcast specifically is I try to help people. And so when somebody says something negative and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm making a free piece of content to help you. A free piece of content. If you don't want to buy one of my courses, then don't buy one of my courses. But why? How are you going to criticize a free piece of content? And so it's like, go listen to someone else's podcast. Like if you don't find value out of my podcast, then go listen to somebody else and find value from them. But what happens is we've talked about this off air, hurting people hurt people. So
that's right.
Like the guy in his basement who's making these comments, he's just mad that there's a level of success in my life that's that irritates him or her and that agitates them. So what they want to see is you fail, because I'll make them feel better that they're not taking action to do whatever you're doing that's successful. So they want to see you fail because it's jealousy and it's envy.
100%.
So I ignore that and I've blocked probably thousands of people, but at least hundreds. I don't know the exact amount, but I block people every day. As soon as someone's negative, block. Yeah. Block.
Yeah, you can't let that. You can't spend your time on that. I was listening to somebody like every successful person, every millionaire, every successful entrepreneur, like they know they only have a certain amount of time in a day, and they have to focus their time on actually like income producing activities or things that are going to actually help them better. And if they're worried, if they spend 30 minutes a day reading hateful comments, replying to them, like then that's like a terrible waste of their time. So you get to that point where you realize, hey, I need to spend my time doing better things. Then you'll get to that point of like you just tune them out, you move on. The perfect example I would say to kind of end this, I will wrap this show up after this, is exactly what you just said about how you. So here's the example that I've heard before, and I lost my train of thought of where I was the example I was going to use what you were just saying, but I'm here now. And you rolling over to get your water is also distracting me too. We're on a Zoom right now. Paul's just rolling across the room in his office chair, and he's got this fancy camera that follows him. So it's not like he just leaves the screen. He just goes over there and gets his water. But why would you take business advice? So you've heard people say they have money, and why would you take financial advice from poor people? Like poor people giving you, why would you listen to their advice? They don't have any money. Like why would you let them influence your decisions? If you are starting a lawn care business and you're trying to become an entrepreneur, and you have people that have never ever ventured in that field, they have no experience with entrepreneurship, business ownership, they have nothing, they don't know anything about it. Why would you ever let their opinions or what they say about you stop you from doing what you want to do? They have no experience in it. It's the same principle of why would you listen to a poor person tell you how to handle your money? They don't know how to handle their money. So why would you let somebody who's never been in business tell you to do or what to do or what not to do? So that is, I think, starting in business is this time of year. There's going to be a lot of startups. There's going to be a lot of new people coming into the industry, I feel like, and people are going to doubt them. And I hope that somebody out there listens to this and is just like, hey, tune them out, because we've had plenty of episodes where we've heard that exact thing of like, my friends and family doubted me. I pushed, I continued, and now we have a successful business. And I think that is a very, very beneficial thing for all of us to hear out there in the world, because it just allows us to keep going and pushing stronger. So, well, man, we're already at 40 minutes. You rocked and rolled with this thing. You told us your story about how the Green Industry Podcast started. It's always refreshing to hear how just the Lord had his hand on you in starting that, and I think you've helped a lot of people along the way. So how can everybody find you and connect if they do want to reach out and maybe hear some more about you, or I don't know, check out your courses?
Yeah, we have our resource center. It's at greenindustrypodcast.com. So if you want to raise your prices this spring, we have our price increase letter. It's a template It's super concise. It gets straight to the point of notifying your customer of how you're going to raise their prices. And we also have all of our courses of teaching you how to know your numbers, teaching you how to market your business, A to Z, everything you need to know how to start and grow a lawn care business. We have all of those courses combined into one big bundle course called the Whole Enchilada. So that will get you everything that you need to know. And so I tell you, the mistakes I made in 2011 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, and I was a grown man in a backyard crying, putting in Zoysia sod, like from not charging enough and not doing the right warranty on a job. Like I've made all these mistakes. So when we make resources, it's so that you can go further, faster, that you don't have to repeat the same mistakes that I made, but you can start your business off with the proper foundation and get to a profitability faster. Like Jeremiah, they're saying 4 out of 5 small businesses fail. So it's like,
yeah,
you want to be that 20%, you need to get information to help you understand how to run the business. And so that's what we teach you. And our resource center is just at greenindustrypodcast.com. So check it out.
Yeah, you need to be checking that out. I mean, you need to get with people that know what they're talking about, because a lot of people listening to this show right now are in years 3 to 5 in business, and those are like your most crucial years. Like, I can totally attest to that. Years 3 to 5 for us have been like, they've been rough, not rough, but they haven't been easy. There's been a lot of you're still reinvesting heavily into the business, and so you're kind of just trying to stay afloat, and you want to maintain profitability and things like that and grow your business, but it's not easy. And so if you're in that space right now, then I highly suggest getting around people who want to grow and help you grow your business, because when you get around people who are trying to help you grow and you give back, then you just learn to receive a lot more over time. So give instead of take, and it will come back to you over time. Well, guys, thanks for tuning into the show today. Check us out on Instagram at Growing Green Landscapes. You can click the link in the show notes to go check out the Green Industry Podcast and check out what all they got there at the Resource Center. But I think that's going to wrap this one up, Paul. Thanks for coming on and joining with us, man. It's been a fun afternoon.
Yeah, Jeremiah, and just teasing everybody, Trustville, Alabama, February 2024, baby. We're coming to Trustville. We're doing a conference in your city.
That's
with,
right.
Jason Creole and myself. So mark your calendars. I know it's a year away from now, but I was just out in your neck of the woods last week planning with Jason and his wife Tracy. So we're going to go to their family farm place and do a big old event in February of next year. So mark your calendars.
Yeah, everybody put it down. It'll be a fun event. Look forward to seeing and networking and hanging out with everybody there. So, guys, thanks for tuning into the show today. It's been an honor coming to you. Thank you, Paul, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.